We're going to get started with our first presenter. So, Von Ciel English with Miami Valley Works.
Excellent. How's everybody doing today? Great, great. Miami Valley Works. I'm the Employment and Advancement Coach. So I've been there almost 3 years, and I'm really excited to meet all of you restaurant and business owners today to kind of provide for you a benefit that our program has. So our mission at Miami Valley Works, which is a service of goodwill, is to empower people living in poverty to achieve self-sufficiency through long-term employment and career development. And then our vision is to eventually eliminate chronic generational poverty and dating in the Miami Valley. So you say, what does that mean to me? Well, I'm sure the people that you hire in your businesses, your restaurants, your bakeries, you see those people that may be struggling with personal issues, trying to overcome obstacles such as childcare, transportation. You see all of that. Those are the same people that come through our workshop. However, we do provide long-term coaching and support. So I just want to touch on real quick, and I know that's a lot on the screen. We have folders over at our table that you will be able to read later. But basically, we take people through an intake process. So when they come into our program, they're really ready to have a job. But if you look at this piece right here, they have to be willing and capable. So just like any of the applicants that apply to your business, they have to be ready to work, right? Yes, that's what we're looking for, ready to work. So with Miami Valley Works, we take them through the process. They go through a 1-week job readiness program that touches on professionalism, it touches on money and budgeting. It helps them understand attitudes, conflict resolution, which is a big one, right? And also just to help them think like an owner. So if I were not to come to work, how would that affect the person that owns the business? That's key. We then go into job search. So depending upon their background or history or education, they go into job search and then also job retention. So as I stated, I'm an employment and advancement coach. So not only do I help them get the job, I help them keep it. So you don't know how many phone calls I get to go, I'm quitting this job. It's been like 2 weeks, you're quitting? No, let's talk about it. Let's find out what happened. So that's one of the great factors of our program is that we help people stay in that job to help reduce your turnover costs. So again, job advancement, if they've been there, maybe they've been eyeing a management position within your company. Maybe they want to move up. Maybe they want to go and be a chef. So I then say, okay, well, what's education? What does that look like? Do you need to go to Sinclair? Do you need to go somewhere to help advance? Are you now ready to get your license to overcome any legal issues? So we help deal with all of that. But, let me see. Yes, so that's the job advancement piece. So just to give you a couple of pictures of our smiling graduates, we've had 2 recent classes. Our classes run every other week. So we had a class on Valentine's Day on February 14th, and then also a class on January 31st. So they have to complete the class as if they're going to work. So say you have someone who hasn't worked maybe in like 2 years, possibly 2 weeks. I deal with people being a coach from anywhere to no GED, masters, undergrads. I deal with a lot of different ones, but if they can come to this workshop and they can be on time and they can stay there and engage, then they can handle a job, right? You would think so. But one unique piece about our program is that when they can't handle life and it gets to be too much, instead of them quitting the job, they come and have support from us. Yes. So as you can imagine, people have problems in jobs, they have obstacles, and we're just that touch point and that home base to help them through that. I've even been into places to help coach people through performance issues or through things that they may be struggling with. So we have a great benefit to all of you and to help reduce hiring costs.
This was another, great program, and we do have some contact information in the brochure. So if you'd like to learn more, similar to kind of Miami Valley Works, they are working directly with adults when they have some support services set up. They have a program to graduate students who take the program to have different levels of culinary expertise. They set up, you can actually book them currently, they do some catering gigs. So that's, kind of a way if you want to learn more about the program, you can contact them, including the information on the back. So next up, we have Miami Valley CTC with Elizabeth.
So I am one of 2 culinary instructors at Miami Valley Career Tech Center. You may have seen my counterpart here a lot for FCCLA, and I'll talk about that. She's taller and blonder. Her name's Courtney. And I've only been there about 6 years. She's been there 8. We're kind of revamping the program as we go. So Miami Valley is a career tech center. We only have grades in 11 and 12, which is a little bit different for some of the other schools. We have 40 different lab programs and 27 partner districts that bus kids into us in the morning. This is our mission statement. We're dedicated to providing premier educational choices and advanced employment preparation for youth, adults, and organizations in the Miami Valley. These are some of my kids. She has the juniors, I have the seniors, and we are fortunate enough to have lab at the same time, so we run a restaurant about half of the year. This is all the different stuff that my juniors learn, plus certifications. Here's all the stuff that my seniors learn, plus certifications. And we've started adapting in our special needs programs on campus. So we have a hospitality program, and it's for higher functioning special needs kids. They're awesome. They come in, on days that the restaurant's running, they will jump in anywhere and help with anything. They learn knife cuts, they learn identification, they learn different ways to prepare food and sanitation. They do serve safe. They also go off-site here and 2 different Courtyard Marriotts, Cypress Point, which is a nursing home or health campus, and to Dayton Children's Hospital. So FCCLA, that's why I see my co-teacher here a lot. Sinclair hosts our regional competition, which actually started yesterday and is going for the next couple of weeks. It's for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. It's a student-run organization, one of many. Since we have 40 different labs, we have 5 different groups, and this is the one that falls for us. It includes our 2 culinary programs, the juniors and seniors, the hospitality program, and early childhood education. So 6 groups of us get together, get everybody ready, do competitions, and they go all the way from local, regional, state, to national level, and they get UCU scholarships, which is great. And then the most favorite part is our restaurant. So we run a restaurant 3 days a week, starting around October. We gotta get those juniors' feet wet, get them ready with life skills, safety, sanitation, so we can turn them loose in the lab. As a senior, they start taking on more leadership roles. They deal with the money, they deal with the front of the house, customer service, things like that. They have to learn how to actually interact, more of those employability skills. There's, over on my table over there, there's menus and examples, and here's some of the food they make. It's pretty great. We do a lot of to-go sales as well, so if you're in the area and you can't stop in for lunch, feel free to get to-go lunch. Certifications, they do fire safety, first aid, CPR. The culinary students do level 2 manager for serve safe, and the hospitality students do food handler. There's this online program called SB2, and it's Culinary Fundamentals. It does more and in-depth certifications. And then OSHA just came out with some culinary certifications. So we're gonna start those next year. And then hospitality services also give you wheelchair certifications. And then a bunch of stuff we do. This is just tip of the iceberg, but they are required 30 hours of community service for graduation. Most of them go above and beyond. They have it done this summer in between their junior and senior year. And so coming into senior year, it's like free game. They just do whatever they want. We run a career camp and a STEM camp. They go down to Children's Hospital. They'll help with House of Bread. They'll do the North Lawn Business Expo. They help with the fair. They'll go cook for 8 weeks at Boy Scout Camp of America. All kinds of stuff like that. And then here's some of the artwork that the kids do too. So I'll have pictures of that if you guys want to check it out. That's it.
Hi guys, thanks for coming out today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and find out what all of the kids are doing in the Miami Valley. They have so much to offer, and it's awesome to have a captive audience for a moment. I'm with Conant's Career Technology Center. We are Dayton Public Schools Career Technology Center. We're just over the bridge here on Washington Street. Our culinary program hosts sophomores, juniors, and seniors. They have a 2-hour block, just about 2-hour block every day. We We also have a baking and pastry arts class, and this year we also added nutrition and wellness for some students that are looking at nutrition or sports nutrition or being kind of taking that exercise science to the next level. Even some of our nursing students are interested in the nutrition and wellness piece. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. All right, those are my seniors. This right here was a leadership activity. So we focus on not only the culinary aspects of it, it is culinary and hospitality management. So they have to learn how to problem solve and work together. And this particular exercise, they had to use a rubber band and move cups across the room without touching the cups, and they weren't allowed to speak. There was only one person in a group of 5 that could speak and give directions. So the fact that they had built a tower this big is phenomenal for a bunch of high school kids. Right here, students, this is just some of our catering that we've done locally. Students cater meals and events large and small. We typically have at least 1 catering event a week. I don't do as many catering as possible. It's just me for all 7 periods, but I also believe that we need to do the fundamentals, and sometimes catering has us doing the same things over and over again, which is great to have us ready for the industry. However, sometimes I feel like that leaves out other things. So we really only do about 1 catering job a week. They're typically in-house or drop-offs. This was a really fun one. We did an entire Middle Eastern meal. So everything was done following Middle Eastern flavors, spices, you name it. They even made pitas from scratch that day. This was just a catering that we did in-house, so our students absolutely get involved and love it. This is kind of our star this year. 3 years ago when I came to the program, the semester exam was to make 2 pies. They had 2 days to kind of learn it, look over it, make 2 pies. Needless to say, I was eating custard pie with lines of scrambled eggs. I was eating sweet potato pie that had not been cooked and lots of fibers. This was this year's semester exam. So groups of 4 were given the task of a 15-course Thanksgiving meal. They had 2 weeks to prepare. In that 2 weeks, they had to come up with a theme for their specific Thanksgiving table, table designs, recipes, 3 tips, 3 downfalls for every recipe. Give me an ingredient list. If it wasn't on the ingredient list, they didn't get it out of the cupboard when it came time to make. They had to come up with prep lists, and then they had to assign jobs and tasks to each person in the group. So kind of like your prep list, creating a schedule. So we went from, not just cooking to the entire management of getting a catering job down. This was my winning team. They were the only team that had all of them on. It is chop style. When the bell rings, it's done. Whatever you have is what you get. So this was my top group. They did a Southern style Thanksgiving. I'll show you their turkey. Is that next? This was their Cajun turkey. Nobody could get enough of it. When I tell you we had 6 turkeys and 6 pheasants, not a single one was dry or overcooked or undercooked, which is phenomenal. My mother can't do that, and she's cooked her whole way. So to have high school kids do that and come up with their own recipes is really an awesome testament to how much they've pushed themselves over the last 3 years. Here's more of our leadership, creativity. I am huge on leadership and diversity. We spend our first 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks of school, learning about my favorite words: character, integrity, respect, diversity, perception, reality, and we carry those through with us all the way through. So this is just one of those learning activities they have a blast. Baking and pastry arts. We do offer a baking and pastry arts class. It's new this year. Everybody's interested in baking and pastry arts. So if you do that in your location, I have lots of people that are very interested. The only thing we really haven't done is our own laminating this year. I haven't gotten that far with them, but as you can see, doing things, choux pastry, placing pies, cakes, all of it, braided breads, Swiss rolls, cookies galore. We also work heavily with our purveyors. So this right here is Northern Hazrat, came out, brought different kinds of meats for us. Kids have to try everything. There is no exception. Unless it's an allergy on your sheet, it's going in your mouth. And you're taking 3 bites, because we know 3 bites is how long it takes for the brain to catch up and tell you if you actually like it. So here are some girls tasting some medium rare to rare roast beef, which freaks people out when it's red. If you're not used to it, turns out they really like it. Here's just some other things. Breakdown of whole chickens is currently our favorite activity. We do knife skills every other week. They have to break down whole chickens, and with my seniors, it has now become a race. Who can do it quickest, not nick any bones, and not cut off any of that excess skin so they can still fold it on the edges. So that is our favorite. Boys like to hit each other with neck bones. It's just what you get. But I think that this is their favorite activity because, as you can see, we get to eat afterwards. They get to break them down, and then we'll have 3 different spice seasonings. They have to create their own, and then everybody gets to taste at the end. Also, knife skills. We do all of the competition knife skills as well as some of the garnish skills as well. I have a spelling error on here. Serve safe level 2. Obviously, graduation is our goal at Ponitz, but really what we're looking for and what we hope you can help with is a livable wage and getting out of those generational issues. That's what we focus on here. So, not that my kids can't be a Michelin star chef, absolutely. And if one of you are willing to take them on and take it to the next level, awesome. What I work with here is trying to get those basic skills, not just culinary skills, showing up to work on time, putting the cell phone away. Yes, chef. And it can even be yes, chef. It can be however you want, yes, chef. But just learning how to work in our industry is really the important stuff for me. Safety and sanitation, we're huge on it. I had a 99% success rate last year for our ServSafe. So my sophomores get ServSafe level 2, and also OSHA. We are going to add in first aid as well. We participate in ProStart. ProStart is part of the National Restaurant Association, so our curriculum comes from them. But their certification requires that the students learn about 3,000 vocabulary words, over 200 competencies, and they must have 400 industry hours before they graduate and take 2 tests to earn that certification. That's a lot. I only have a small percentage that actually hit that every year, but the ones that don't are so very close, and using you guys would probably help get them to that next level, especially competencies. They get a lot of those signed off at workplaces. And that's it, just a few pictures. They love baking. We made over 2,000 mini desserts for something last year. Those are my knuckleheads, my favorites. We do all the way down baking pastry arts, regular baker scales, not just digital. Lots of team competitions. They turn everything into a competition. So these were souffles, those are knife cuts. We're having fun with vegetables this year. Since it is a food desert in Dayton, I try to incorporate vegetables in that wellness piece as much as possible. So we have a nutrition lesson. Here they made stuffed peppers. They've never had this before. It was so much fun. We have lots of vegetables, so learning all those things. Pizza is our favorite. We do pizza all the time and cater it out. People do to-go orders. Just some of our competitions that we do as well. And this year's fun project was gingerbread houses. This is what we did at Christmas. They had to create their own designs. So we bring in that math piece as well. I did not give them a template or a recipe. They got a recipe that made a gingerbread house this big. They had a requirement that the gingerbread house had to be this big. So then you work with math. You've got to figure out, okay, how do I make a gingerbread house? So you can see they've made steps here, going through finishing at the end. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. All right, so we're going to move on to some of the Choose Sinclair projects that are happening. So Garrett, you first.
Hi guys, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yep, good. I'm back. Alright, so my name is Jarrett Mayer. I am the returning citizen coordinator for Sinclair College. As some of you may know, hopefully all of you know, Sinclair does offer classes in now 16 Ohio prisons all over the state. So the goal with our program is to get our students short-term certifications, one-year certifications, and as of fall of 2019, we were allowed to award degrees. So culinary is one of our biggest pathways for our students. We found that there's not as many restrictions in the field of culinary for people with felony records, so we want to make sure that we get them into a field that is employable. So we offer a wide range of certifications: bakery specialist, pastry specialist, hospitality reception services, culinary management, food production specialist, food truck, and street foods. Is that all of them? I think I got all of them. And then we also offer culinary management associated with technical study. Last semester, our officially first semester being able to award degrees, we did award 8 students with the culinary management associated with technical study. This semester, the spring, we actually have 15 potential graduates to finish their degree while incarcerated. So I have a couple little graphics. This is from the Cook Institution. It's trying to give people an idea of how many people in society have criminal records. And it is a lot bigger than you think. A lot of people don't understand that all the people that are incarcerated right now, 99% are going to come out, and it's kind of our responsibility, to give them those opportunities to be successful in life. And that's part of my job, is to help connect these students with the resources, the connections, and the lawyers that are willing to hire them and give them those opportunities to help them be successful, give back to the community. So I'm not going to go through all this. I do want to kind of get to the later part where it's how you guys are benefited. But it does give some facts as far as how who's willing to hire people with felony records, who's happy with their decision to hire someone with a felony, and you can read it. But I am curious, do many of you have any employees that are ex-felons, returning citizens? And anybody want to share their experience hiring someone with a criminal background?
Been some of the hardest workers I've ever had.
Awesome. I was really hoping you'd say the opposite. Yeah, please.
In my case, it's a former employee because she got her start with us immediately after coming out of the correctional institute, and it's just what she needed as a little springboard to get into something bigger and better. And we run a bed and breakfast, and basically she cleaned rooms for about a year for us, and now she's doing something way better than cleaning rooms.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm really glad to hear that. And I've heard that many times. A lot of these students, a lot of our students, they just made a simple mistake that many of us have probably made ourselves, and they were unfortunate and got caught. But they want to show their family and their kids that they can be successful. They want to prove to themselves that they can be successful. They definitely don't want to go back to prison. So of those of you who were willing to give them that chance, I do really appreciate that. I would imagine they do too. So this is the Fair Business Pledge. It was under the Obama White House, basically calling together businesses to take a pledge, saying, hey, I'm willing to give these guys a second chance, an opportunity. And here is a list. I had to make it very small because there's a lot of people or businesses that signed the pledge. But yeah, all these people or businesses, signed the pledge. There are 44 that I could not fit into that list. And I do believe you can still sign that pledge if you are willing to. So now, why should you guys hire returning citizens? So there's two things I want to talk about. The first is the Certificate of Achievement and Employability and the Certificate of Qualification for Employment. Basically, what these certifications do is they act as an alternative to record sealing. In Ohio, you cannot get a violent felony sealed, and there are quite a few that are considered violent felonies. So the alternative is these certificates, which basically it's signed by, who's it signed by? It's authorized by the ODRC, Ohio Department of Corrections Rehabilitation Director, basically saying this person is rehabilitated. They have to do a certain amount of programming while inside. They have to have a certain number of community service hours and other things. And essentially this will make licensing agencies who have a restriction for felonies, it will have them use discretion and review this person's application rather than be immediately disqualified for having a felony. The other thing it does is it protects you guys from negligent hiring lawsuits. So if you were to hire someone, you can ask them, hey, do you have one of these certificates? And if so, they can show you that proof, and that will protect you from any lawsuits for negligent hiring. And the second thing that I would like to talk about is the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but it is basically a tax credit that you can earn for hiring a returning citizen. Anyone who has gotten a felony or charged with a felony in the past year or has come out of prison with a felony in the past year. And the numbers speak for themselves. They can save you a lot of money. I actually have applications with me. So if any of you are interested in that, I'd be happy to share that with you or give you my card. I do have a lot of returning citizens who have been released and they were culinary graduates, or they do have a lot of our certifications, CertSafe certified, all that, that might be looking for jobs. I'd be happy to pass your business to them, and any information you'd like them to have, or connect them with you guys in any way. But yeah, so that's basically all I have. Here's some tips on finding applicants. It's pretty much the same as any other applicant. But yeah, if you take my card, and anytime you're hiring someone or would like to hire someone, give someone a chance, I would be happy to, pass your information along to some of our students.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How's everybody? Still awake? Still with me? Great, excellent. My name is Carolina Figueroa. I am the Assistant Director for the Office of Work-Based Learning here at Sinclair. Work-based learning is really just a fancy word for internships and apprenticeships. I also wanted to introduce two of my other coworkers that are here with me. Jocelyn Dean is a worksite developer, so she works directly with the students in the HMT department. And then Derek Allen is our chair for the HMT department. So we really want to welcome everybody for coming, learning a little bit about some of these recruitment methods and strategies. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about two different strategies that we have with our HMT students. One being internships and one being apprenticeships. So to begin, our hospitality management program is a 2-year program here at Sinclair, so it's about 60 to 65 credit hours that the students are completing. Within hospitality management, we have 4 different degrees, or 5 different degrees. There's a general hospitality management. We have a specific degree for culinary arts. We also have baking and pastry arts, meeting and event planning, and lodging and hospitality. We also have 1-year degrees of baking specialist, a food truck. Those are about 30 credit hours. Within the 2-year associate's degree, our students do take an English class, there's a math class, there's humanities, social sciences, and communications. After those 5 kind of general education courses, the rest of it is all culinary and hospitality specific. So it's really incredible that our students get the opportunity to dive right in, work on things like knife skills, butchery, baking, making coffees and teas, beverage management, learning about vendor negotiations, contracts. So a majority of this program is really specific and specialized to the hospitality industry. Our program is ACF certified, and all the students, part of the program does require ServSafe certification as well, so all the students will come out with that certification. And then they also require an internship. So at some point throughout the program, the students will come to my department specifically looking for an internship. Now here's the rub. The students that come to us looking for an internship, most of them are already working out in the industry. That's kind of what you're seeing already, is that those students that are working and that can work are already working out there. So the ones that come to us are either very new, very fresh, are kind of dipping their toes a little bit into the hospitality world. So we're helping to get students connected out into the industry. If you have opportunities for internships, please let us know. We would love to work with you to place some of these students in different opportunities. The internships are really intended to be part-time positions, growing experiences for the students. So we want you to know that these students are still learning, they're still growing, they're still figuring it out. So an internship is really allowing that student that chance to kind of learn a little bit more about what's going on. So help them to develop and sharpen those knife skills. Help them to learn and to grow, really. And so the internship is truly intended to be 1 semester, which is about 16 weeks for us. They work part-time for you. They're still probably taking a few classes here and there to finish out their degree. And then afterwards, if you like them and they're great and they're wonderful, please extend them an opportunity for employment. The other side that we want to talk a little bit about, and Jocelyn was handing out some handouts, is our apprenticeship side. And this is really what we are kind of working with the local workforce to consider as a means of recruitment and as a way to change how you recruit and how you interact with the workforce. So an apprenticeship is a little different than an internship. Is anyone familiar with apprenticeships and how they work? No? Sort of, kind of? Are you guys familiar with like an electrician apprenticeship or like a tool maker apprenticeship? It's almost kind of the same concept, but we're taking it out of that kind of industrial manufacturing kind of world, And we're really looking at placing that in any other type of industry. So I will tell you that we have a cybersecurity apprenticeship. We do have the traditional electrician, construction apprenticeships. We just launched our STNA, so nursing apprenticeships. So, I mean, in talking with Derek and Jocelyn and some other folks, we figured, why not in the hospitality world? Why not take this way of recruiting and training a workforce? It's almost like you grow your own, so that you are developing and transitioning that person and training them while they're getting the skills and technical experience needed. So essentially, apprenticeship is having that person who is an employee of yours. Maybe they're starting off as a dishwasher, maybe they're bussing tables, but you see something in them. You're like, you know what, that's Stacy, she's got it going on, she's reliable, she's dependable, she comes to work on time, she answers the phone when I call her, she doesn't just text me back. If you see that person has that potential and then you want to develop them and grow them into a baker or into a chef, that's where this apprenticeship model can really come in. So essentially, you would take that person and let them grow and develop those skills. We would provide that technical experience here at Sinclair. You've got the experience for on-the-job training. And as she grows and develops those skills, there's a little bit of a pay increase, an incentive to keep that person with you and to keep them growing and developing. At the end, they do receive a certificate or a certificate with Sinclair, and they're still your employee. You have now reaped the benefit of growing that person and developing them to be the person that you need. So that's really what we're trying to do to kind of transition how people are approaching recruitment out in the workforce. Instead of finding someone that is set, that has those technical skills ready, why not grow and develop that person the way that you want? So yeah, any questions?
What's the time frame that apprenticeships usually have?
So usually we have some that are about 1 year, and they can go all the way up to 4 years. So 4 years is the standard that everyone thinks of, like a tool maker or an electrician, but they don't necessarily have to be 4 years. That's kind of on the long side. What we are doing with the apprenticeship, so it's no longer the hourly checkoff that most people think of. You know, you have to do 7,200 hours technically training within the apprenticeship. Now they are turning to competency-based. So now if I am working in your restaurant and I can demonstrate and show you that I have these knife skills, and I can saute this and I can cook that, you can just check off that I'm competent in the area and then we move on. So the learning and the growing is going at a faster pace. So then that 2 to 4 years can kind of drop down. So it's really about finding that potential in that person and developing them up. Any other questions?
And if we ran out of paperwork and you're interested, see us at our front table to grab cards, and we'd be happy to share that with you.
Yeah. So we have our program's about 380 students that are enrolled in hospitality management. We do, as Jared mentioned, have students that are also incarcerated that are taking classes now. So they are coming out already halfway done with a degree. Why not take that person that's almost there, you know, just right at the cusp, and then help transition them into a future potential role. And so really that's what we're looking at. How do we work with companies to kind of rethink the way that you're recruiting and help you to kind of retool that, and we can do that with the apprenticeship program. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Carmen. So how does this all work or look in the real world? We decided to have a little bit of someone coming up to share the reflections. So we have Melissa in her practice in her business. She does work with Sinclair and try to utilize the students. And to facilitate this discussion, I have a special guest, Mark Fisher. You probably know him from Dayton Daily News. So Mark, you want to say hey? And Melissa, thanks so much.
Just a brief introduction. I'm Mark Fisher. I write about restaurants and dining for the Dayton Daily News and Dayton.com. And restaurants coming and going, mostly coming these days, rather than going. And
we're actually, we call ourselves a bakery now. We started as a coffee shop, actually. Now we are an all-scratch bakery. We do breads, desserts, and pastries. We're about 70% wholesale and 30% retail.
How many employees do you have?
Right now we have 8 employees,
And in 10 years, you'll have 200?
probably. That's the plan.
What are some of the qualities that you look for when you get job applicants?
I would say work ethic is number one. We can teach technical skills, but it's a lot more difficult to teach you to show up on time, as was mentioned earlier, have your cell phone away, be mentally present, not going on 2 hours of sleep. A structured life a little bit goes a long way, and just ready to work.
And what were some of the challenges that you faced in getting your business open initially? And what perhaps were some of the challenges you faced since then?
Yeah, I would say finding quality employees is definitely up there. Not the ones that came from Sinclair, however, of course. But and I've talked to a lot of other chefs, and we're all kind of feeling it. You know, the crunch of just quality people with a little bit of skills that want to work. That was definitely a big challenge for us.
What tips would you give someone who's trying to start a new business themselves, first of all, and then what tips would you give students who are, but first, fellow business owners or those trying to start a business?
Yeah, I would say like networking and partnerships, talk to Sinclair, talk to anybody out there. They may have someone that's ready to move up and move on, or just isn't a good fit. But networking definitely has gone a long way for us.
What are some of the attributes that you're looking for when you go to hire?
I guess some of the attributes that I would look for is certification, some of the basic things, availability, they're open day, night availability. Work ethic is one of the toughest areas that we're looking at. Being on time, cell phones, different stuff, hiring people that have had a criminal past. I've found that sometimes when that past is drug related, that is a tougher animal to deal with than it is even a theft or some of the other problems. So looking for people that want to work, that's maybe the first statement I make. I'm hoping to get people that want to be here, want to work. And I always say we always have the same thing in common. We're here to make money. We both want to make money. If we can become friends as an ancillary benefit, we can do that. But let's be here to make money.
I can tell you from a survey. So at Sinclair, I run culinary and baking and pastry. So I did a survey of about 15 to 20 area restaurants as to what they look for in employees. And the first one, the number one, was soft skills. That was the number one, soft skills in terms of relation to etiquette, which is the forms and manners that are conventionally acceptable by society or profession.
When you mentioned soft skills, in my peripheral vision, I saw everyone nodding their head at the same time. That was astonishing. Like everyone's head was on.
But it was, but just the basic skills of showing up to work on time, letting your employer know if you're going to be late, not showing up and then 2 weeks for a week, and then coming back in like nothing ever happened. And I can't believe that these things are happening, but they happen. And I was just like, but the number one is actually just soft skills. That's what we found.
That's a great point. Melissa, can you speak at all, I guess, to your experience with working with Sinclair students and how those soft skills sort of translate to them versus maybe different hires that you've had?
Yeah, I would say they have like a base level knowledge of the kitchen. They're learning a lot of health code and things, but they are already engaged in wanting to learn, or they wouldn't be in the program. So that gets them a long way in just wanting to learn, showing up on time. They have a little more accountability because it's an internship. So, I mean, we never had any issues with no-shows or anything like that.
How long have you utilized the Sinclair internship program?
It started about 4 years ago. We had 2 different interns and they both were hired on permanently. And they were both successful.
An important trait is teachability. I've had people with good skills, but they're not teachable, and that's a problem, and that people just don't want to learn. And all different ages, all different skill levels, that's been an issue. I had to fire a guy after 5 shifts at the holidays. He wasn't teachable. He was talking back, and he was a very good cook, but I couldn't work with him because he wasn't teachable. And I've had that with young kids, older people. Teachability is huge. We've always had a teaching kitchen. We've had several interns from Sinclair. We hire people that are a little greener at times because I enjoy teaching and I like watching people that want to learn and grow, help them learn and grow and give them those skills. They have to be teachable for me to do that. But that's huge for me when I hire.
You got a question?
I have a question for her. You mentioned that finding quality employees is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was thinking in terms of maybe a work ethic and all of that. Were you meaning something different than that?
No, I would say work ethic would be pretty big, kind of like Maria was saying. And one good thing about a greener employee also is they don't have bad habits yet.
Exactly. I had a 19-year-old that told us now like this, and we all every day showed it. We said, I don't like it that way. He said, well, this is the way you need to do it. So if you want to learn, this is how you need to hold the knife. And he quit after 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he
sits at home and holds his
didn't
knife.
You can't cut a carrot like this. Look, you're going to cut your arm off. So, yeah.
I think something else is, as from the employer side, which certainly helped with organizations like Sinclair. You mentioned networking. I feel like the Dayton area, especially in the restaurant industry, is a little better than maybe most as far as it being more of a community. People do work together, they talk, and there's a lot of resources available. But we're also still sometimes surprised at places that don't take advantage of networking. They don't call around and ask questions. If they're looking for people, and we call the other chefs and owners that we know, and we talk and we network, and every time you do that, it usually pays off positively, and especially with Sinclair and other organizations. That would be my piece of advice to anybody: is don't sit there in an island and just wonder why you can't find anybody, or why the people you are finding aren't working out. The more you network and the more you talk to people, the better results you're going to get.
Actually, can we have all of our presenters just pop back up for a second, and we'll just do some really quick, if anyone has any follow-up questions that have occurred to them throughout the course of the presentation today.
So my question is around success rates, I guess. If you had to kind of ballpark it, are you guys about 1,000, or in your 4 years of experience with Sinclair specifically, what's that turnover rate? How would you grade yourself?
I would say 1,000 in terms of success from an internship perspective. Sometimes students will get into, this is real now, the internship is over, this is the rest of my life, and I don't want to work in a kitchen.
So how many folks are you bringing on after the internship and retaining as a paid employee?
Majority.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So our internship program, the students do receive a grade, it's 4 credit, so there's some ownership, they have to do well. Part of the program does include a site visit from the faculty member, so there is that direct connection with Sinclair, so the student doesn't feel like they're left out on the island, but also there's that feedback from the employer as well. Because we want to know, how is that student doing? We want to know that we're preparing them the right way, that we're teaching them the right things, so there is a direct connection.
With regard to the internships, what is your target goal as far as the number of hours a week that someone would be working in a position with a local business?
So typically they're about 20 hours a week, right guys?
15 to 20 per our accreditors, because we're accredited by the American Culinary Federation and also by ACFA, which is the Accreditation Commission on Programs of Hospitality Administration. So you've got two different protocols here. ACF governs the culinary and baking and pastry side, and then ACFA governs the hospitality side, which includes meeting and event planning, lodging and tourism, and then hospitality management. So 15 to 20 hours.
Questions for any of our presenters? Go ahead.
Probably a question for all of you, what time of year would be ideal to get someone started in a partnership with us from each of your respective programs?
Anytime. I mean, we have the workshops every other week. So, I mean, I know you all have down seasons and up seasons, but I mean, we constantly have people coming in, and I know they refer to students, but the people that we see, they're kind of like vets in the field. So we have some people with some experience. So any time of year.
Yeah, I think my seniors would be anytime. They're chomping at the bit to get out and get experience. And it's exciting because they just got their driver's license so they can get there and stuff. The juniors really would just depend, like, if they can drive, if they have transportation. And some of them come in already with a license and then they're ready to rock.
Sophomore wise, so 16-year-olds, they finished their level 2 Serve Safe in OSHA by January. We're a little behind this year, so probably February or March is a good time for sophomores, but for juniors and seniors, anytime really, they're good to go. We do have bus line issues though. Most of my students don't drive, so making sure that you're on a bus line or close to a bus line or their hours are with the bus schedule is important for my students.
Anytime really for me, I guess. If I had to pick a month or whatever, it'd probably be like December, and then maybe February, just to time with graduation.
And if I may real quick, we do offer bus passes. So some people, yes, we definitely get them to work, and sometimes I've taken people to work. So if they can't get there, oh yes, we're keeping the shop. Yes.
So for the internships, it follows a traditional academic calendar. Classes begin at the end of August and go all the way through December. Then we have our spring semester begin at the beginning of January, usually that second week in January through May. And then the summer begins usually that second week of May through August.
Is the internship typically one semester or a year or?
Just one semester,
One semester,
but the
okay.
student can continue working afterwards.
Sure.
We also see students that'll start early.
Yeah.
So they might, a great opportunity comes along and they might work for 3 weeks before their actual, class takes off.
Sure.
Some of the people from the Opponent Center that were the sophomore to senior level,
Yes.
16 to 18, I'm guessing around the age. We do some hosting in the summertime. Would students be interested in a non-culinary position?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of students that really chose our program because it was an option out of being in a regular public school. So they're there to learn just adulting skills. So absolutely, I have quite a few that would prefer not to be in the kitchen sweating. Absolutely. Also, I don't know if anybody's familiar with YouthWorks.
Yes.
So if you're planning on using a student from either of our schools, our students can get involved in what's called YouthWorks. They're actually accepting applications right now. Do you guys do YouthWorks?
It's called Youth Connection.
It's something new now,
something,
yeah. If you sign up to work with YouthWorks, they will pay a $10 an hour wage for the students to come work for you. So you're not out any money, and the kids can come work for you, but it's only like 15 to 20 hours a week. Can anybody else give me? I don't work with it 100% of the time.
10 hours a week during the school year and 20 hours a week
20,
during the summer.
but it's paid for, so then you're not out anything, and I believe there's a little bit of an insurance coverage for you for taking that younger kid that comes with being a part of a YouthWorks business. So I know you can find out more about that at Job and Family Services or look it up online, and that does actually help the kids with graduation as well. There's like a special seal that they can get for being a part of that helps with graduation. So if you are looking at taking a high school student, that can help offset that cost of having that student in your program or in your business.
And the state of Ohio also offers an OMIG grant. Ohio means internships and cooperatives. So the OMIG grant allows for smaller private companies to pay back and get reimbursed 30% of the student's hourly pay rate as your intern. For that semester that they're interning with you, you could receive 30% reimbursed back to you at the end of the semester.
Any other questions?
I have one. How do you handle with dealing with students that just come in from the industry? How do they handle dealing with criticism from other people when they told that they messed something up? Is that a very common thing?
In my experience, they were pretty teachable. Like, they had seen a lot of what we do, but they didn't really have a chance to like get up close and try it out themselves. So they were pretty open to just like absorb as much as you could give them. And just taking a little time and giving them some extra exposure to different areas goes a long way too.
What's your top tip for working with your school or agency?
Well, we are with them for life. So our ongoing coaching lasts with our members. I mean, and it's the support, it's the coming in to the facility if we need to. So that is one of the top tips, to keep them ongoing in employment.
I totally forgot to think about that. I just, when you were talking about the coverage and stuff, it just popped in my head. I've had a couple employers that are worried because my kids are minors. And they're covered under, I should have brought a copy of it, but they're covered under something. So they're allowed to use knives and slicers and things like that because they've gotten checked off at school for it. And so that takes away all that liability. And then you've got soft skills and things like that to work on. So just, it's a huge variety. Just open-minded about it.
Yeah, open-mindedness is awesome. Our kids are great. They are wanting to learn. They're at that pivotal point where having someone besides me, their mother, which is what I am to them, having someone else besides me, giving them those things to look at and work is really going to change someone's life. It may make the point of whether they're a future culinarian or just someone that dabbles in it until they find something else. So having you, all of you in your businesses, having an open mind and taking a chance, you are molding our future. So open minds, give us a chance.
For the returning citizen population, I think it's key to understand that, you know, once they get out, if they continue to work with me, that means they are taking it seriously. You know, they're not just taking all the certifications they can get while inside, and, you know, just leaving it at that. They are continuing, they are, you know, putting in the work, they are trying to be better for themselves. So if there is a situation where I am referring a potential employee to you, you know, I am in some sense putting my reputation on the line. So I would make sure that candidate is serious.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I would never send someone to a restaurant if they did not meet the minimum qualifications at work or at school. I'm not going to send you someone that you have to pull your hair out over. I promise.
And then I would encourage you to seriously consider the apprenticeship model as a way to recruit and retain your workforce. I really think, you know, if you have the courage to be that pioneer, to be that first restaurant that's like, yes, I want to do this apprenticeship, I want to be the first culinary or baking apprentice, I think that, you know, is almost like newsworthy thing, right? Yeah. Thank you. So I encourage you to really take that risk. It is a risk. But you've noticed that we've got some fantastic high school students that could roll right into an apprenticeship model. We would continue that training here at Sinclair and then continue growing with you.
I would echo that as coming from industry before taking this position. I've seen firsthand some folks who were incredibly talented, and you know, management wanted to give them that opportunity to move into a leadership or management role, but without some of that additional training, without some of that additional mentorship, it really kind of set them up to not be as successful as they would have liked, or as leadership and management would have liked. So I really think that apprenticeship model is a great opportunity to, you know, to manage up, to hire up some of your workforce. So I really, really consider it, especially as a lot of you are thinking about growing your business, multiple locations. You have to find that right middle management. And I think that an apprenticeship model would be a perfect way to set that up for you.
So thanks very much. Let's give everyone a